All right.
Okay, so in your memory, a camp story, a travel story, family gathering, mishaps. Just bring it to me, man. Bring it to me. I'm recording right now. You saw that, right?
Yeah, I saw that. Um, Camp memory. Well, I remember the first time that Dad sent me up to Heritage with a load of. We just bought the property at Heritage, and Dad was working with a bunch of convicts at the time from the halfway house. He hired them, and so he had me take all these convicts up to Heritage Lake Bible Camp with a whole load of timber, and we had a truck and a trailer, and it was loaded to the gills. And so anyhow, Dad just said, you've been there, you take these guys up there. So I did, and I managed the Meath Park turnoff really well. But when I got to Meath Park, I was just racking my brain. Like, how much do you actually pay attention when your dad is driving somewhere, And so I had been there once, but I was just dying trying to think, is there one turn? Is there two turns? Is there three turns? I knew the Meath Park. I had that one down pat. But anyhow, I just remember sweating it all the way from Meath Park to the Heritage Lake Bible Camp. In the end, they had a sign that pointed. So I spent that 30 minutes just killing myself trying to explain that I didn't really have a clue where I was going, but we kept driving and I didn't say anything.
I like that.
But it was muddy as all get. And so the whole Heritage Lake turnoff, it was just that trailer was just jackknifing and slewing, and the convicts. It was Al Englehart and Frank were the two guys with me, and they were just yakking it up, having a big time. And but anyhow, I do remember that was my earliest memory of Heritage. I don't remember going in there with Dad at first, but I do remember Dad sending me up with all the guys.
And
I
how
have a
old would
memory.
you have been?
I was 9 or 10. Yeah, because I got baptized at Nestler, the last year of Nestler. So I would have been 9, I guess. But I do remember one time we had a great big giant inner tube, and we were seeing who could roll down the old swimming pool, the old swimming hole access there. And we
Right.
were getting in and taking turns trying to roll down to see who could make it to the water. And Nelson Knight won. And all of us fell out, hit the sand before we hit the water. But Nelson went all the way down the hill, and when he hit the water, that tube just spun twice as fast, and he went straight up in the air and nosedive. I mean, right down on the top of his head. And there's only 3-4 inches of water there, and we thought we'd killed him. He was kind of doing this funny noise and and just as soon as that happened, I don't know if it was John or who, but somebody yells, "Here comes Uncle Gary," who was the director that year. And so so
Hide the body.
I actually literally dragged Nelson. Man, it's a good thing he didn't break his neck, because I literally dragged him off into the willows on the side and covered his mouth while Uncle Gary came over and talked to the group of guys sitting at the top of the hill. And but anyhow, Nelson survived it. So that was.
You
I
got some good
remember.
stories.
I remember John and I sneaking out of the tent, because the girls would go to the old outhouse there, right by Marge's cabin. They would take the path to that outhouse, and John and I had slingshots, and we had acorns, and we'd wait till the girls all crowded in that outhouse, because they were always afraid to go by themselves. So there was always a group, and we let them get in there, and then we, shot acorns, which of course I didn't realize how loud it was until someone did it to me. It's loud when you're. But of course, that always got the girls running back to the cabin and it entertained John and I, and that was a lot of fun until you never knew who it was. It was dark. You could see the flashlight, but my mother came down the path. Of course, it was Mom, and got herself in the outhouse, and we plastered it, and of course, Don and I did dishes for the next couple days. Mom was not entertained by that.
Yes.
We didn't go running down the path either for some reason. She came right out after us.
Yes, I like it.
So that was a fun memory, and the only other one that's kind of fun. I mean, these are all funny memories, but we had a guy that was preaching in North Battleford for 2 years. His name was Buddy. I can't remember what his last name was. Anyhow, I met his son. His son is a football coach at Harding, and I was working out on the Harding gym, and he was talking about one of the football players getting drafted by Saskatchewan, and I was just listening in as these two guys were talking at the gym, and he says, well, I was born in North Battleford, which I'm born in North Battleford too. So I said, what a small world. Anyhow, I introduced myself. Turns out that's Buddy's son. That was he was born during the 2-year period that Buddy was there. Buddy Cullens, that was his name, Buddy Cullens. But anyhow, Buddy came up to the camp expecting to shoot a bear. He wanted to shoot a bear so bad, and he brought a whole bag of smoke bombs. Do you remember this?
No.
You were pretty young, I guess, but he thought there were caves around, and you throw the smoke bomb in the cave, and the bear comes out and you shoot it. That's what he had in mind. Good old Arkansas. He was from Arkansas. He was from the Ozark Mountains in Arkansas, and so that's what he came prepared to do. Well, of course, he was quite disappointed. There were no caves and no bears to be seen, and he carried the shotgun everywhere. Anytime he went walking, he carried his shotgun. Everybody was quite entertained. But anyhow, in the end, he gave out the smoke bombs to all of us kids. We bombed everybody's tents. Everybody got one, and we bombed it. Mostly the guys bombed the girls' tents, and the girls bombed the guys' tents, and it stunk. But I kept mine, and the girl, how many times can you bomb a girl's tent and I find enjoyment in it? So anyhow, I decided I was going to get Buddy, and I waited around till he went to the I was going to get my brother Ralph. He was directing that year, but my Twyla heard about it. She came and said, Ralph is not entertained by smoke bombs. He had a bad experience, so I wouldn't do Ralph. And so John and I standing around saying, well, like, what are we going to do with the smoke bomb? Can't get Ralph. And here comes Buddy down the path to the outhouse. And so, well, that answers that question. Anyhow, he gets in and we open up the back trap door, light this thing, and we throw this thing down in the pit of the outhouse. And it's pretty impressive, actually. Like 5 seconds, and there was literally smoke spewing out of every crack in that outhouse. Like you can just see it pouring. I mean, coming out under pressure. You could hear Buddy coughing away in there, and you could hear him kind of struggling around. And pretty soon, the little diamond window at the side, his face is pressed right up against that. He's trying to pull up his pants, obviously. He's pressed up against that little diamond thing, but he comes tumbling out of there. And yeah, he said he understands why bears don't stay in the caves now. And so we just given him a second, on other side of the. Yeah, that was fun. I didn't even get in trouble for that, so that was good.
Thanks so much, Les. That was a hoot. I will call you back again. We'll do this again.
All right. There's a few early heritage stories, so.
Appreciate it, man.
All right.
We'll see ya.
Take care.